Posca pens are one of the most popular tools for getting bold, vibrant colors in your artwork.
They're water-based paint markers that lay down smooth and vibrant colors. They're an industry standard for a reason.
There's just one problem with that. They're really expensive. So if you want paint markers without completely destroying your bank account, this video is for you. I bought both Posca pens and a cheaper alternative, and I tested them side by side to see which one is worth it. And my goal for this video is that by the end, I will be able to help you decide how to use your hard-earned money for your art. Let's get started.
I got both of them so that I could test them out fresh, straight out the box. Here's my unboxing of the Posca pens. I've used Posca before, but only the black and white ones to do highlights and line art, so I'm excited for this. It was $24.99 for a set of 8 markers, which is about $3 per marker. The Posca pen nib is really stout, and it doesn't flex at all. It's pretty stiff the way it is. The build is equally thick. It's definitely one of the denser pens that I've used. And here's the unboxing for the Enmy markers. This set that I got was $43 for 48 markers, which is a little bit less than $1 per marker. But after I bought these, I did find another set of Enmy markers that look like they're basically the same, except it's 48 markers for $21. That's cheaper than the set of 8 Posca pens. So I'll be linking those ones in the description down below. It also comes with a blank swatch board, which I think was really nice. The build quality for these is also pretty solid and nice, but it's a lot thinner, so it feels like a normal pen. The nib for this one is very flexible and it's pointed, so it feels a bit more like a fine paintbrush than a marker. But one of the cool things about both of these markers is that they're marketed to be able to work on a lot of things like paper, cardboard, wood, and even my Jordans. Comment if I should customize my shoes in a future video. But now, it's time to run them both through the test gauntlet. The first test is straight lines. How well both of these markers fare, just giving us normal line work. The Posca pens are doing remarkably well at this. It just feels good. It's a consistent, reliable, expectable line. It's exactly what you want it to be. This is just the highlight of using Posca. Moving on to test 2 though, we're going to be trying out line weight. And what you'll notice is that the Posca pens have a very hard time switching from harder to softer or vice versa. It's really meant to stay at one consistent line weight. Trying out test 1 with the Enmy markers doing straight lines, it's fun. This marker is definitely more painterly than the Poscas, but it is possible to get straight lines. It was pretty fun to draw shapes, but you just need to focus really hard on what type of shape of line you're doing. It's not going to come out consistently the same every time without effort. The Enmy pens fared very well in test 2. It was really easy to go from harder to softer and then even softer to harder for the different line weights. Very nice. Test 3 is to see how the markers interact with different materials. Like the Posca pens do cover the pen lines, but they do interact and make kind of a bleedy, smeary mess. It's kind of ugly. The Enmy markers did not make the pen smear at all, but it does stay kind of translucent, so it almost works as a highlighter that you can still see the pen marks underneath. But now, it's time for the final test. I'm going to be putting together one final drawing using both of these markers, and I'm going to be splitting this drawing in half, with the left side being for the Posca markers and the right side for the Enmy markers. So far, the Posca markers are so consistent. There's no streakiness. The color is perfectly opaque and even. It is having a bit of a bubbling paper tearing issue, but again, this paper is not really made for acrylic, so that's kind of to be expected, but just so that you know. I think that the Posca pens are definitely advantaged in that they're really opaque, super consistent, and they have a great spread. The downsides though is that it does bubble on paper it's not meant for, there's only a handful of colors, and you don't get to have small details. The pen nib only being one size means that you can't get into the tight corners like you can with a normal Copic marker, for example. But now, it's time to try out the Enmy markers for this piece. The Enmy pen is so much better for small details. If you're careful and you treat it like it's a paintbrush, you can get into the small spots so much better than with Posca. I really loved how vibrant the colors were with this. The only disadvantage that I really noticed with using the Enmy markers, though, is that for big, flat spreads of color, it does get kind of streaky. You would need to do multiple layers, whereas just one layer with the Posca pens gave a smooth, consistent spread. The Enmy pens don't blend either, since they're also acrylic, but the wide color variety did give it an advantage for spots like the beak. If I had to use just my Poscas for this, I would have had to buy a whole nother set just to get that gray. For doing the colored line art, both markers felt great. I really didn't notice a difference in the final product. But for the process of it, Enmy felt more like you're painting, and the Posca felt more like you were using a pen. I think that the Posca's biggest advantage is that it does consistent lines that you can rely on for line work. The pros for the Enmy pens ultimately is that it feels natural, being very painterly. There's such a wide variety of colors, and you're able to get into the small details so easily. The cons are that it's kind of streaky, and sometimes if you're not careful, it does blob. But it's pretty minimal. We finished up this final drawing to test out both markers. So we'll be doing the final verdict now. For myself, the way that I draw, I would rate the Posca pens a 7 out of 10, and I would rate the Enmy markers maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I think that it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're making a huge Pokemon card with Poliwag and you only want one color of blue for most of that page, I think without any doubt Posca is better for that. It just depends on what you want to do. So, that being said, I'll leave all three in the description, both a set of Posca pens, the Enmy markers that I got, as well as the cheaper ones, which I think are the same, but maybe marketed towards babies. I think that's the only difference. To me, if you're gonna buy one and you've only got $20, that's a no-brainer. You can get 48 markers for 20 bucks instead of just 8, when really the advantage of getting those 8 is just for better line work. I'll leave all three in the description. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And if it helped you pick out the next medium that you're gonna use, please comment to let me know. But other than that, I hope that you have so much fun making art, and don't forget to go to church. God bless. Have a great week. Bye.